The early 22nd.
I know.
Yeah, that's good.
We got 3 parts for the 22nd century.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah.
What? You don't actually, you're just trying to make one up right now?
Part of the question is just waiting about 10 seconds for it to formulate in my mind.
Okay, sorry.
If I had a Haussmann gene here, I'd be able to spit it out really quick at you, but I have to formulate it in my mind.
All right.
I did actually seriously have a question. Okay, so is it a device that you attach onto something? Is it like floating in the air? Is it like in the wavelengths? Like what is the gene? Like what?
Oh, it's just a software program. When I say attach,
So it's a program. Okay, so it's like it's software.
it's like installing.
Okay.
When I say attach, I'm just being, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It's you're attaching. You install
software,
it.
yeah. That's easy to understand.
It's software.
It's relatable. Okay.
Yeah, but it does require a certain interface. Like a neural software does not work with circuitry. Now, quantum computers, thankfully, won't work the same way as our silicon computers. They won't have the same circuitry. So perhaps the neural software is compatible with quantum computers. Or perhaps it'll need its own installation. Like there's actually a piece of hardware that's related to it. In fact, you know what? I'm going to say that that is the case because that helps fuel the other storylines that I have in my mind.
Wow, that's a very minute detail.
Well, that there's a piece of hardware? Not
Yeah.
really, because when it comes to the salvagers, one of the factions, not all of them have the Haussmann gene. And if it's as simple as installing software, then they all would have it, because the CSU, we could just pass it on to them.
Okay, then that makes sense.
So there's a piece of hardware that is required that has the right kind of network.
You're making this up for a purpose, not just because.
No, it's for a purpose.
Yeah, that makes more sense then.
Yeah. So it's a commodity then, or not a commodity. It's maybe a commodity is the right word, but it's not like anything can have software installed. Like it's not like with our current computers, you just install the Haussmann gene. You'd have to actually plug in the hardware as well that would take care of that.
Media?
Not media. Plug in, as in like a graphics card.
Yeah, I mean like a CD or a USB. You need something like that to store info on.
No.
Well, you said like a graphics card.
Yeah, like a graphics card. Like graphics card. Okay, a graphics card is
a piece of hardware.
Right. A CD is not a piece of hardware.
It's physical. You can touch it and it has info on it.
That's not what hardware is. Hardware is not.
I know. Okay, hardware is parts of the computer.
Right.
I know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just trying to
understand.
Yeah.
Like, okay, for example, you want to increase the graphics output of your computer. There's software that can do that, but it'll have its limitations because it's working with your existing hardware. So you install a graphics card, which will also have software, but the graphics card has the mechanical stuff in it, the electronic stuff in it, that allows that software to then boost the graphics output of your computer. That's what we have today. And so it's the same idea. You would install a Haussmann gene right into one of your PCI slots, except they probably don't have PCI slots with quantum computers. Same idea though. You'd buy this thing. It'd be an interface. It would be able to interface between the electronic or the computer, that the way it works, to a sophisticated piece of hardware that houses the ability to run this Haussmann gene software. And you plug it in, and now that Haussmann gene software has access to your computer and all the knowledge in it, at least what the computer allows it to have.
like a hard drive.
The Haussmann gene? No, it's not a hard drive. It
No,
would
I
have
didn't say the
access.
gene itself.
It would have
The
access
hardware
to your
for the
hard drive.
salvagers.
No, the thing would then have access to your hard drive, which would have the information on it.
What's the thing?
The Haussmann gene hardware plugin.
And what is that?
It's what houses the neural software.
Is it a card?
I don't know.
That's my question.
It's physical, yeah.
Okay.
But it's like if it were to go on today's computer, they would create a PCI card, like a graphics card. You know how easy it is to install a graphics card?
Yeah,
you plug it in, and then you install the drivers, right? Same idea. You'd plug this in, install the drivers, and then it would be able to interface with the rest of your computer. The drivers would allow the rest of the computer to know how to interface with this thing, and all of a sudden your computer would be smart. It wouldn't actually be. It would just be imitating it. But it'd be kind of fun.
It's got to be smart somehow to imitate smart.
That's a good philosophical discussion for another day. I'm going to leave that open. I'm not going to set that in stone, because that can leave open for some interesting stories. And also some interesting moral issues, like, are they really self-aware? If they are, you can't kill them. Not without it being the same consequences of killing a human. But if they're not actually self-aware, then you can do whatever you want to them. You can make them your slaves, and there's no moral consequences.
Well, you know what the real test is?
What?
There's a special piece of hardware that the Ghostbusters have, and they can tell if there's like a spirit that dwells in something, and if there isn't a spirit, then it's just a shell that's empty.
Well, that's also a debatable philosophical discussion. Does something require a spirit to be considered alive?
Styrofoam is alive.
Well, that doesn't do anything. It doesn't seem alive. Wait, what if something actually, like if you were to talk to it, because it's called the Turing test, because it was after the scientist named Turing something, or his last name was Turing. And basically, this is a test from decades ago. That if you can create an AI software that when you interact with it, you can't tell if it's real or not, then you've passed the Turing test. That's what it is.
You have passed it, or the thing?
The thing has passed it. Like you talk to it. Like let's say, and you get a bunch of people. We have this piece of software that's been created, and half of them talk to the software, and the other half talk to real people, but through a computer, through the same interface, so they can't tell if they're talking to a person or not. And the question is, can you tell if it's real or not? And if people can't, if basically they can't tell the difference between whether it's real or not, then you've passed the Turing test, or the software's passed the Turing test. And then the question arises, is that thing intelligent then, if you can't tell that it's not human? That's the question.
Well, no.
I know I'm self-aware. I have no idea that anybody else is. I assume it, but I would start to really question those assumptions if all of a sudden AI was developed to the point where it acted just like humans.
And you can't tell?
Right. I would start to question that assumption. I don't think it can actually be possible, just for the record. But who cares? It's sci-fi.
Well, it's a shell, right?
Doesn't matter.
Made up of elements.
But if it acts exactly like you, then what's to differentiate you from it?
Nothing.
Exactly. So is there a spirit then inside of you if we can develop AI that acts exactly like you?
Yes.
You say that, but there's no proof of it.
No, I said yes because I thought that the answer might fit, because I didn't understand the question.
If I could create a clone of you, not a biological clone, but a mechanical clone, that looks exactly like you and acts exactly like you, but is mechanical, is with the Hosman gene,
Yeah.
and other people wouldn't be able to tell the difference,
Okay.
besides cutting you open and seeing which one of you is biological and which one's you mechanical, then you've essentially proven that life is not what we think it is. Because we can create something that acts just like humans, then that really kind of turns on the head what we believe life to be. Turn on its head.
Yeah, okay, I was going to say this. Yeah. Yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So which is why I don't think it's possible, but that doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what my religious views or philosophical views in this matter are. This is science fiction. We can do whatever we want. I also don't think that dark matter is going to fuel dark fusion. But that's okay. This is sci-fi. But it does create all those moral discussions that you do see in different novels and computer games and all the movies, the things that you normally wouldn't think of. Except we're going to try to keep it a little more realistic by not having every single robot act exactly like a human being.
So do you go to jail if you kill an android?
I don't know. I don't know the laws at that point.
Well,
At this point,
that'd be a matter of like destroying somebody's property, so you probably would go to the law.
yeah,
go to jail.
but that's just destroying property. It's like iRobot, right? Where he says, if the robot did kill the guy, then this is just an industrial accident. It's not homicide. It's an industrial accident, which means the company would be liable for the death, but nobody would go to jail. Anyway, philosophical debates are for another time. This video is long enough. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments below what you think. Of course, participate in the forums as well if you'd like to really get in on the action and help me develop this. I do read the topics. I don't necessarily apply all the ideas. That would be impossible for us to do really that kind of project. But there is a link right below this video to the forums where you can discuss this. This is Matthew from MiniWarGaming with MiniWarGamer Dave.
Yeah, I guess my name's Dave. Yeah.
From MiniWarGaming.com.
How do you know I'm real?
I don't. Happy working.